Welcome everyone, this is the Jenkins Platform SIG meeting. Today we are on November 5th, 2024. Around the table today we have Mark Wade, Kevin Martins, and myself, Bruno Verhagsten. On the agenda today, we'll talk about the end of support for Java 11 and the arrival of the latest Jenkins LTS. We'll talk a little bit about the container image updates for the Jenkins controller and agents. Maybe the last time we'll talk about the Spring project, who made an end-of-life announcement, and maybe a few words about the 2+2+2 Java support plan. Kevin, Mark, is there anything you would like to add to the agenda today?
Just a revision to that. It certainly isn't the last time we'll talk about the Spring project because there's an awful lot of work still ahead of us for that. But we'll keep. Yes, we'll keep making progress.
I'm happy to keep talking about this one, but I thought, okay,
Spring, their end of life announcement is really that probably we can delete, but the reality is there
should rephrase
a lot for us to do to over the course of the next 6 to 12 months to get the Jenkins project transitioned to Java 17 and to Jakarta EE9 and to all the things that we get benefit from in that transition that we've started and successfully are progressing through.
All these subjects are linked in a way or another. So I need to talk first about the end of support for Java 11. So that happened with the latest LTS 2.479.1 and 2.479 for weekly release, or no, it was earlier than that.
2.463.
It's written just under my nose, but I just can't read tonight. Whatever. So it's now official. The latest LTS has dropped support for Java 11 at the end of October. And so far on the download website, I've seen 40 people saying it was going okay for them. No one said it was not so good, but 13 people said it's caused a problem that forced them to roll back. And so far I've seen 4 community reported issues. 2 are linked to LDAP, but that's already sorted out. You have to do something manually. I think you described it in several places, Mark, one of them being community.jenkins.io. I think you have to do, how did it called, by the way? In lockstep. That's the term I was looking for.
Right. But simultaneous or concurrent or at the same time. There isn't a mechanism in Jenkins today to do that because it happens so rarely. So yes.
So 2 about LDAP, 1 about reverse proxy, and the last one, as always, I'll lose my mouse, but that's okay. Let's find it. Yeah, it's there. Yep. So the last one is more of a how to migrate core from E8 to EE9. So it's a set of other issues, and it has to be done also in lockstep, if I'm not mistaken.
So this
no, it was a long time ago.
Scroll upwards. This is so wait a sec. So
I don't even know why it's linked to the 2.417.
Yeah, so core has migrated from Java
it has.
to Jakarta EE9. Scroll down and let's read the text just to be sure. Yeah. So
maybe this one could be, it's because it's linked within Jira to the LTS release, right? No?
I guess, I'd have to think a little bit more about what this means.
Yes, because that doesn't sound like a problem that hasn't been solved yet.
No, it is just, I think as far as I can tell, this one's done, right? We have migrated at least. Well, show the additional links. It says show 9 more links at the block at the bottom. Maybe there's something that we're missing here. Yeah, see, if you look at those are all done, all closed, right? And the ones up above are all closed.
2.
Yeah. So
maybe we should close it.
And this is closed as well. Good. Okay, right.
I don't know why it's referenced on the download page.
Just because somebody put it in there to remind them, hey, this is what's happening. Yes, that is in fact what happened. It's that downloads page has an any input you give is allowed to be given there. So you could put in 1, 2, 3, and there are people who do, and it's content, it's nonsense. So it's not a curated list. Therefore,
Uh-huh.
we just accept somebody said something there, and if it helps us, we use it.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reverse proxy one, that the line item that you got next, is actually called reverse proxy off for clarity, because it's reverse proxying is a common thing, but reverse proxy off plugin is the thing that had that problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So how do we solve that?
So what's happened there is a proposal has been sent, or a pull request has been submitted proposing to update the plugin to support the new version of Spring Security.
Cool.
And Basil did some initial testing, and he's asked the users to do further testing.
Great. So all of that looks in good shape. I mean, that's a major step for Jenkins, and it could have been much worse than that, but the work was amazing, I would say, because almost nobody complains. I haven't looked at the numbers, by the way. I think maybe the JVM graph, that project that Basil did. I don't know if we have recent.
We don't.
No, we don't.
So Andrew Bayer and Kosuke Kawaguchi have been working on getting those numbers updated and Damian DePorto, but their work is not yet finished. So we're still outdated on the actual Java, the JVM graph data.
Okay. But we'll see. Time will tell. By the way, I'm in the middle of the bridge, I would say, when it comes to upgrade or modernize a plugin. Because, for the CSP project, for example, they have worked on the top installed plugins, and they are going down the list. And the more you go down on the list, the more you see plugins that are not as well maintained, I would say, as the others. So they may have to do something regarding the modernization of the plugin before tackling the CSP project in itself. Right. So the thing is, how or when should we go up to JDK 17 for plugin modernization? I guess that if you want to, for example, if that was a security issue and you found a workaround, then you would not want to go up to the latest LTS and Java 17 because you want to target as many installations as possible. At least that's my understanding. But now, if you want a nice incentive to get a new feature or change something in the plugin, shouldn't you move to Java 17 so that people have to migrate to the latest Jenkins LTS? That's a kind of nice incentive. At least in my point of view, that's not the case for people having to handle Jenkins upgrades on a regular basis. But what are your thoughts about that, folks?
So Darren and I are going to actually do a series of one or more videos talking about this, because it's a big enough topic to justify serious conversation about when should a plugin choose to move forward, and when shouldn't it, and what are the conditions that guide that. So the most complicating factor, the most serious complicating factor, is if a Jenkins plugin provides APIs to other plugins, and those API signatures will be changed by the transition from Spring Security 5 to 6, or by the transition from Jakarta EE8 to Java EE8 to Jakarta EE9. If signatures will change in the APIs that plugin publishes, then other plugins are now dependent, cannot move to require 2.479.1 until they, or cannot move to fully support 2.479.1 until that plugin on which they depend has been updated. And so it's not a crisis. This is not we must do something. Not at all. It's just that it could change the time horizon when we can make this transition. Because as an example, so I'll give a very specific example. So I am a maintainer of the test ng plugin. That's the TestNG is a testing library used for Java programs, and it has its own specific format that it writes. As the maintainer of the TestNG plugin, the original implementation depends on the JUnit plugin and consumes an API from the JUnit plugin that is modified by this transition. And so, in order for me to transition the TestNG plugin from whatever current version it supports, I think 2.452 to 2.479, and from Java 11 to Java 17, and from Java EE8 to Jakarta EE9, I really need the JUnit plugin to make its update. And then I do mine, because that way when I start requiring 2.479.1, I can also rely on their Java 17 / Jakarta EE9 / Spring Security 6 compatible API. So that's a single point example. There are some much more dramatic examples, much broader examples than that. But let's take that as our single point example. The JUnit plugin is used by several other plugins, and one or more of the APIs it provides is changing as a result of either Spring Security 6 or Jakarta EE9 or Java 17. So did that answer your question, Bruno, or does that at least illustrate a little bit?
No, that was perfect, Mark. Spot on. Thanks a lot. But that leads me to another question I have already forgotten, and another remark. So it's not a deadlock, but we need some synchronization or a way to progress altogether.
Yeah, it's a very simple upstream downstream dependency thing, right? And because of the compatibility layer, there would be no lasting harm if I said I'm upgrading the TestNG plugin. I could in fact do it without waiting for the JUnit plugin. I could in fact upgrade. I just have to leave behind one or more of the API calls because JUnit plugin has not yet updated.
So I got my question now. It's back. So is there any work involved when you will switch from Spring Security 5 to 6 interdependency to JUnit? You say that the API would change, but just changing on your TestNG, POM, XML, the parent POM, everything, will that be enough to get automatically compatible with the new version of JUnit when it will be also switched to Spring Security 6.x, or will you have to look into the code and change the calls to the newly formatted API?
Yeah, good question. So in the case of the TestNG plugin, the thing that it depends on is an API that has in its signature either a stapler request or a stapler response. And stapler request and stapler response are both the legacy API from Spring Security 5. Spring Security 6 and Jakarta EE9, so it's not just Spring Security, it's from Jakarta EE9, etc. Stapler request 2 and stapler response 2 are the new things. And so what JUnit plugin will do is it will publish a new API that takes as an argument a stapler response 2 or a stapler request 2 or both. And TestNG plugin will then consume that new API. But JUnit plugin can't publish that new API until it itself requires 2.479.1 because the API isn't available until 2.479.1.
Okay, now I get it. So there is some manual work involved.
Yeah, yes,
it can be
definitely. The transformation is pretty simple, actually. It's okay, Java X.servlet goes to Jakarta.servlet.
Jakarta, yeah.
Stapler request goes to stapler request 2. Stapler response goes to stapler response 2. And there are 1 or 2 or 3 others where you've got a stapler.getCurrentRequest is one I've encountered. It has to become stapler.getCurrentRequest 2. But it's not a deep, horrible thing. And then you run Open Rewrite and ask Open Rewrite to transition the thing to Java 17, and you get all the Java 17 features, or you get some Java 17 features very nicely.
Cool. Thank you for your insight, Mark. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, sorry, that may have been more than you ever wanted to hear. But
no, not at all. Not at all. No, the problem is I will have forgotten lots of it by tomorrow. But
that's why Darren and I know that we've got to do a thing for www.jenkins.io that is a maintainers. We've got to improve a plugin where contributors can do plugin work, right? And that helps. But we now need to maintain a plugin. And this is sort of the foundation for that. So we really do need a section in the documentation that says, here's how you maintain a plugin. And these are maintainer choices, not contributor choices. When do you upgrade to a new Jenkins base version? When do you choose a new base Java version? Those kinds of things that are, when do you choose to automate the formatting of your source code? All choices that maintainers should make and contributors who are not maintainers should not make.
Yeah, I definitely would be one of the first clients for this kind of documentation because most of the time I'm hesitating. What should I do? How should I do that? And so on. Right. And of course, my question is biased because I'm thinking of the tool, the plugin modernizer tool, and I'm wondering how and what could be automated and what should be done by hand and what is reasonable, what is not. We'll see. Thanks a lot. I have to see your videos and participate or read or review the documentation you will write. We will write, I hope. Thanks, Mark.
You bet.
Cool. Now, on to regular work. Considering major dates for the Jenkins controller. So the LTS, as we've said, it has been delivered at the end of last month, and it has removed the Java 11 support. We have had a few bumps in the versions of the JDK, so 21.17. Of course, no more 8 or 11. You got that. Bookworm, Linux version, and the plugin manager. And the next LTS version will be led by Chris. I, of course, forgotten the date. So when will that be, Mark? 2 weeks from now? Earlier than that?
So let's see. November, you're asking for the release date for 2.4.79.2?
Yes, please. You're not my calendar, but I'm asking contest.
Yes, no, 27 November. 27 November, and the release candidate will be available next week, 13 November.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Mm-hmm. The weeklies now. Bells, where are you? Okay. Okay, nothing special, just an update to the latest LTS.
Yeah, so there was one additional change. It was a skip changelog entry that said update CLI has been new version of update CLI, and our users don't care about new versions of update CLI.
I don't think, I like when we are migrating to a new version of update CLI, but end users just don't care.
Right.
So the only thing I spotted were the bump of the JDK versions, and that's all. Now, for the Jenkins agents, we've seen 2 new releases for the SSH agent. Yes, a big new number, 6.0.0, because there was a breaking change, I guess. Mark, we integrated the removal of the Java 11 support. I guess that's the reason why? Okay.
Correct. Well, and we've probably got upcoming releases of those because we've now got a new release of the Jenkins remoting library.
Oh. Okay.
And that will generally generate and cause us to do a new release of Docker agent and of SSH agent.
Because they depend on it, of course.
Right.
Thank you, Mark. So in the SSH agent, what I've seen were a few bumps of the versions, nothing major. And for the Docker agents, we also have the removal of the Java 11 support and, of course, the mandatory bumps that we see from time to time. Nothing groundbreaking. There has been no work in progress on images yet, so there is no open PR as far as I know. And we've already told quite a lot about the Spring project, so we should rephrase it for the next meeting, I guess, because go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
We can remove this section. We won't stop talking about the transition that's happening inside Jenkins, but we can remove this section because our tasks for this particular thing are in fact done.
Thank you. And it's also linked by the 2+2+2 Java support plan. So
that one I don't want to remove because I still need to get back to that and write more words.
But I think that's an important step we are leaving now, which is the first, we just got rid of JDK 11. We'll get rid of JDK 17. Don't be afraid. A few months from now, or will it be years? No, I think it's months now. Now, when will we get rid of JDK 17 according to the 2+2+2 Java support plan?
Well, so we'll let's talk about what we add, right? So we add Java 25 in September of 2025.
Then, yeah,
right.
Years from now.
So then, and I think we're in a transition where we may drop Java 17 in like April of 27.
Oh, okay.
Or let's see, because that would then leave us with no. So I think we must be dropping 17 about September of 2025 as well, because we don't generally want to support more than 2 JDKs at any one time. The arrival of Java 25 in September of 2025, likely shortly after that, we'll support it in Jenkins, and therefore Java 17 reaches end of life then. Yeah. I got to go through and look at the calendar again.
Yeah, I should have done it too. My fault. Okay, we're done with what was on the agenda. Kevin, Mark, is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap this meeting up? No? Okay. Thanks a lot for your time. The meeting recording should be available from 24 to 48 hours. Well, I made it. And we'll see each other 2 weeks from now. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Thanks.